Hello everyone, welcome back to Hyrule Chronicles. This is episode 45. My name is ArticulateT, and with me today, as always, I have TheNetherlad playing Renji Vox.
As always, a pleasure.
I have Hikan Sio being played by Alvarance.
Hello.
I have Robopirate playing Ziden Shari.
Hello.
And finally playing Max, I have Keistrith.
Hi.
So, what happened last time, folks?
I'm sorry. I was muted.
I do that all the time. I was like, oh
That
no,
happens.
he's muted. Okay.
I am sorry. Last time on Hyrule Chronicles, we were still within the port of Sarcossa when we had been nearly blown up by bomb chews and gunpowder. We rushed towards the ship of one Mr. Fairwind. Fairwind? Yes, that's Fairwind. Fairwind, who was attempting to escape, but we jumped onto his ship via magics. We attacked him. We were attacked by a big shark monster thing. And we killed big shark monster thing. And also Mr. Fairwind, who is now dead in the water and probably not taken by the harvester through loads of eldritch blasts. Also, Hikan and I are still sober.
And you will be for some time. It has been half a day of day one of your 16-day sobriety challenge.
It's not a challenge for me.
Oh no. But yes, you have successfully defeated Richard Fairwind before he could escape by ship across the sea. Having tied him to activities involving the elusive Twilight Cartel, I'm going to say that it is that amount of time has passed between that event and the cleanup that followed. Over the course of the rest of the day, the warehouse, Fairwind's warehouse, has been successfully doused. It was a bit of an effort, but they managed it, with only minimal damage to the surrounding warehouses within the district. Any surviving criminals that were associated with Fairwind have all been carted off to jail. Melina has been taken in for questioning. The Orca Zora girl that was supposedly being held captive and exploited for her singing talents by Fairwind in an effort to control animals and other such creatures. In the process, you have not necessarily tamed, but made docile a pair of guard drakes that were Fairwind's erstwhile guard dogs, or indentured guard dogs, I should say. And as this news is run off to Mayor Turnier and Captain Rundus as to what has occurred, there is much rejoicing. Gossip spreads throughout Sarcossa Port Town very, very quickly. As news of Richard Fairwind being this duplicitous bastard is immediately set into everybody's minds. It does raise a couple of problems in that, chiefly in that, well, with Fairwind gone and his trading company essentially involved in a massive criminal enterprise, potentially, the only trading company in town now is the Brass Bell. So that's a problem that may have to resolve itself sometime later.
Yeah, we should definitely call back the guys from the Zephyr's Favor because they might be able to pick up business again.
In that process, the ship that Fairwind was attempting to escape on sinks sadly into the port. Thankfully, it's not too deep, so as it touches the bottom and then lists to one side, you can still see the masts. Or no, you can't, because they were knocked down when Ziden turned into a giant elk to gore Richard Fairwind off the ship.
They got knocked down
I
and
didn't
they
knock
didn't
down
get up
all of them.
again.
One of them were
Yeah,
knocked down to
I know.
begin things.
But yes, Fairwind's ship is thoroughly trashed. But with that in mind, a couple of things do occur. At one point throughout the procession of, like, you know, the boring old paperwork that needs to be done, considering what has occurred, Mayor Turnier eventually comes up to the lot of you and says, "Well, I dare say these past few days have been rather eventful. Congratulations."
That is certainly something. And thank you.
Now, I am not so much of a tight-wound individual to deny an appropriate celebration when something of this magnitude has occurred. So we won't be able to get anything sorted for today, but I would like to hold a public forum to at least honor the heroes who have vanquished the monsters and driven away the scum from our town, at least the bigger, more noticeable scum, as it were.
No, I would consider this to be villainy, actually.
That's, yes, true. Villainy it shall be. And of course, I will tally up some resources and provide you with an appropriate reward of things.
Well, what we've done was in service of the country, and any help that you may offer us will be much appreciated. Just out of character, have Hikan and Renji, have they discussed their current, like, sobriety with each other? Have we?
Do you want to discuss your current sobriety
Like,
with each other
I-
during that time?
Hold on.
Renji wouldn't necessarily know about it.
Okay.
Hold on. No, I haven't noticed it yet.
Okay, and I will disregard this starting comment.
Okay. But yeah.
Has Max been comfortable around the guard drakes, like, or vice versa kind of thing?
He keeps kind of just curiously looking at them whenever they're around.
Is it more like with disdain or fear kind of thing? Because
He's more just wondering why they don't react poorly to him.
okay, fair enough. Never mind then.
Yeah, they as said, they aren't tame by any stretch. They're just okay being there. It will take a lot of time and dedication to try and tame them in any capacity, or at least in a long-term stretch. But yeah, they just kind of like, it's a pair of guard drakes and they really don't have anywhere else to go. But yeah, so as Maternia kind of nods and says, "Well, I should probably go and get some things sorted then. I'm sure Captain Rundus will come along with some more questions, no doubt, when everything's calmed down, but I'd say get some rest for this evening. You all clearly deserve it. And I shall speak to you on the morrow. I'll send a runner to come and collect you when we have our little public speech thing. And And of course, I will see if I can get people encouraged to just have a day off and enjoy things themselves. But before I disappear, is there any questions that you might have for me?
Well, any other things that you'd want us to stick around for after this?
Truthfully, I don't believe there's anything of a incredibly pressing matter at the moment. Undoubtedly, if there was a large criminal organization working behind the scenes in this town, there is now undoubtedly a power vacuum, but we can't really fill that void with anyone more reputable, as it were. We'll just have to make do, and of course, the town gates are always open to you, so feel free to stop by if you can. I know that you are busy with official castle business, but
Also, could you try and send word to the proprietor of Zephyr's Favor? They have been hit hardest by the machinations of the Twilight Cartel.
I can certainly do my best. Let's see, they left yesterday, so chances are if they're going by road, that means they probably have found their way to Riggan's Stead by this point. I can send a runner, but chances are they might not catch up to them immediately. If they've gone by water, then, well, that's a different matter entirely. They might already be back in Zora's domain. But
It is where he said he was going, so you could always just send it there.
That is true. I will see if I can send a message along. Well, that's the case, I believe. I shall go and tend to business as it is my duty.
I hope you have a good day then.
And are you?
Thank you.
He turns around and a clack, clack, clack of cane on stone as she wanders away, stopping occasionally in the distance to speak to people and let them know about the circumstances that have unfolded. So, with that done, is there anything else you wanted to do today before appropriate celebrations happen tomorrow?
Renji is probably going to write to his father to get a report ready for all of the things that have happened in his own recollection. And for the night, Renji is probably going to he's probably going to meditate on his nature, the nature of his pact.
Okay. I suppose you should ask, where are you guys staying? Are you going back to the Zephyr's Favor building? Are you going to find a room at an inn, or you still have free reign over that building?
True.
Why pay for something if we don't need to?
True.
True.
I mean, 3 of us are used to sleeping outside.
Yeah.
Yes, I am decidedly less comfortable.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you head back to the Zephyr's Favor building, then Mara can always provide you with some writing materials to do your letter stuff if you don't already have it. But yeah, and we'll deal with the meditation thing later during the evening. As for the rest of you, what do you plan on doing for the rest of today?
I was gonna say Hikan's gonna go figure out he can't get drunk, but I only have 1 gold and 1 silver, and that's not gonna get me a whole lot, so...
I'm gonna try and figure out what the hell these god drakes eat.
Okay.
I will accompany Max.
Sure, that much. You can get a lot of cheap booze. And then
It's
you can
not the
blame you're
same.
not getting drunk and it just being too cheap.
It's not the same.
Down stuff.
I don't want grog.
But everyone wants grog.
But yes, I will accompany Max. I will take Max to the general store because Max hasn't been to the general store.
That's true. Haven't been to the general store. Okay. So while you head off there, Ziden, are you accompanying them, or do you have your own business you'd like to attend to?
Yes, I need to buy a rollout ladder
A rollout ladder.
for those times when I go up a window first and then need to get other people up.
Oh, okay. That makes a bunch of
Yay.
sense.
Finally, I cannot die on acrobatics check.
I was like, oh, right. I understand. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Okay.
Something. I mean, I could get just a normal ladder and still probably shove it in the bag of holding, but the rollout ladder seems more sensible.
They'd have those in this sort of place because you attach them to ships.
Yeah. It would definitely be something that would be purchasable. But yes, so you head over to the general store, which is chiefly Sarcossa to supply and demand. It's a nice humble, as you've seen before, it's a nice humble little building that resides near the entrance of town. There's a little kind of cottage place with a proper kind of terracotta slat roof. These little baskets with plants in the windows, and a few bits and pieces that can be bought just outside of it. Inside, the walls are lined rather neatly with a series of items, some of them being food, others being just general gear. And as always, sitting on this little pillow behind the actual counter is a pig that kind of, as it sees you, just kind of looks up lazily at you and blinks. There is a bell on the counter, and it's fairly nice in here, all things considered.
Hikan waves to the pig.
The pig just kind of blinks, his nose twitches.
Was the proprietor in?
You don't see her behind the counter, but there is a bell, like a service bell, on the counter.
Okay. Hikan will ring the bell.
Ding ding. Say, I'm coming. Hold on. And as you after a few moments, coming in through the door, behind the counter is Millie, the person who runs the shop, and you see that she's this rosy-cheeked Hylian woman with this curly brown hair, with an apron over her dress, and she looks over and says, "Oh, hello again. So nice to see you. Welcome back to the store. Please, how might I be able to help you today?"
Ziden will go forward first. I would like to purchase a rollout ladder.
Ooh. Certainly doable. And she disappears briefly into the back room and comes out with a basic rope ladder, like several slats of wood all tied together with hempen rope. There's these things. They come in 3 sizes, my dear. There's a 10-foot ladder and a 20-foot ladder and a 25-foot ladder. Sadly, people found that the 30-foot ones and longer, they kind of get tangled too often, and most people just don't go further than 25, at least not ones that I can buy. That and some ships aren't really too large for things like that. So each size, it's roughly, the GM says as he looks through his eyes to see how much a hempen rope costs. One go bit. Okay. This says it is 2, 4, and 5 gold pieces respectively, for each different
2,
size.
4, and 5. Okay, Ziden will give her 11 and take all of them.
Okay. That was a ooh, thank you. And just kind of takes the money and counts it out and pockets it, and kind of like claps her hands together like, excellent. Thank you very much for your service. Is there anything else that you would like to buy, my friend?
No, I'm okay. And Ziden will go through the process of shoving it into his bag of holding.
Very well. And what would you fine boys like to purchase today? Is there anything else you'd like to? Is there anything you'd like to buy today?
We were looking after these guard drake things and don't really know what they eat.
She kind of tilts her head to the side curiously as you say guard drakes. Like, guard drakes? Oh, do you mean those scary lizard things that Mr. Fairwind used to would go around with?
Yeah.
And she kind of, I'm gonna roll her perception to see if she can see the guard drakes outside the door. She rolls poorly. She says, well, the last time I saw them, I saw that they had these nice pointy teeth, and if I'm remembering it correctly, pointy teeth usually means that they like to eat meat. So I could probably find some flanks of beef or lamb that you might be able to use.
Okay.
And she disappears briefly and comes back with some of these meats as described. Let's see. And she says, okay, so we have wow. You were saying so these bits of meat are different in price for what they do. They've been salted, they're preserved, but the lamb in particular, that'll run you 2 copper pieces, and then the beef will run you 5 copper pieces. And she presents you with this kind of like the lamb and the beef are basically these what you'd expect from like a joint from for a Sunday roast or something like that. And they're all kind of like they're tied up with twine and wrapped in this brown paper to keep it from being sticky and horrible and messy to carry.
Look, I can't say I don't know how much we need.
Yes.
Could I guess a survival check knowing their size
Sure.
about how much they'd need?
Nature would probably be more appropriate, but I will take survival.
Okay,
Could you do
good,
animal
because
handling?
Animal handling also works.
I'll
I
roll
will
as
do.
well. Okay. Oh,
It's like
Okay.
I will do animal handling as it's kind of a neutral one. Okay,
Okay.
between a -2 and a +6.
So you can gather from their respective size that the meat that the singular joints of meat that she provides you here is probably only going to be enough for 2 days at best. You're probably going to want more if you want to feed these things for a longer period of time.
okay. I'm gonna put a gold piece on the table and say, how much of sum of both could we get for that?
Ooh, well, that is a lot. Let's see.
I have a bag that can preserve things. So it don't have to worry about them going up.
And she goes, well, give me just a moment, dear. And she disappears into the back room again and comes out with another 3 beef joints and another 5 lamb joints.
Okay.
And she puts them on the thing and says, about this much for the gold will be enough.
Okay. Thanks.
Pleasure doing business, my dear. And she pockets the money and will help. If you require the aid, she will provide it, but otherwise she'll allow you to just take your food.
Stuff it in the haversack.
Yeah. Okay.
Not to detract too much, but I imagine just like as it was like, how much would this feed them? I just imagine just like Ziden in the middle of stuffing it, and then like Max and Hikan all turning towards the guard drakes outside to think about it in unison.
But yeah, you assume with this amount of meat in general, chances are you probably got it covered for like a week or two. At which point you'll be able to like decide what to do with them if needed. Yeah. As you do that, Millie will turn to you, Hikan, and say, "Is there anything you'd like to purchase today?"
Oh no, not today. I just brought my friend here since he hadn't been here yet.
Very well. No worries. That's perfectly fine. And thank you for coming in. It's nice to see people on the regular, you know. And it's it's been slow business as of late, but I will not complain. It's a nice place in town. I have my dear pig, and I have my lovely shop, so it's all good.
Well, if last night's anything to go by, I think business will get better since the mists seem to be gone.
Oh, I did notice that. I heard a couple people talking around town. If the mists are gone, then yes, I would gather that business will pick up soon. Yes.
Well, thank you, Miss Millie. You have a good rest of your day. And then Hikan will turn around and leave.
You too. Take care. Feel free to come back anytime. Yeah. And so you have purchased food for the dragon dogs.
Yay.
Yeah. So, now that you have purchased these goods, is there anything else you want to do with the rest of your day?
I think Hikan's good at the moment.
Same.
Okay. So we will say, for the sake of it, you head back to the Zephyr's Favor building.
And then at least try to feed the dragon dogs, I guess.
Yeah. You try, and they will sniff tentatively at the food, but they
I
will
roll
take
20 animal handling to
Yay.
to have them be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. You managed to feed them without them being snippy or being like or shying away too much. And they kind of just, after they've eaten, they just kind of curl up on the floor and just lie there. As you kind of relax for the rest of the day, it feels oddly quiet. Like, it's not until Captain Rundus turns up somewhere in the mid-evening that it just feels like it's a weird sensation of having been able to just kind of sit and do nothing and have like nothing immediately requiring your attention. It's just calm. But of course, that is disrupted the moment the door knocks. And Mara opens it up and welcomes in Captain Rundus, who looks around and says, well, am I okay to come and talk to you at all? Is there some things that, do you need me to return another time, or?
Renji was probably sitting close to Mara, writing his letter. I think not. This is, you're welcome to come in. We don't have a lot of amenities here. I don't even have tea. Donut, I don't even have tea.
It's not a problem. It's primarily business. I was hoping to ask a few more questions in regards to what has occurred, so I can get a full story as to what exactly it has trapped our town in this horrible business.
Of course. I'm not entirely aware as to the protocol of reports within your jurisdiction. I'm currently writing up some reports for my own for my father. But you're welcome to ask any questions. By the way, have others returned to the place here?
I assume we got back.
Yeah, he probably.
Okay.
Like it's.
Max is probably sat somewhere nearby reading one of his books.
But yeah, so Captain Runners just holds up his hand and says, "Well, it is nothing too formal. It is primarily just me asking questions, taking down notes, and that is it. Not really,
Fair enough. No problem then.
No. And he kind of takes like a pad of paper and a pencil from like a small satchel on his belt, and begins to write things down. He says, I am sorry about this, but I do need to ask, what exactly was it that triggered the explosion at the warehouse, if possible?
Bomb tube?
Bomb tube.
Yes. I'm not too familiar with the creatures, but as far as I can tell, they are rodent-like beings that can explode by themselves. That couple.
Hi, really creepy smiles, bombs on their tails.
Right. Well, I suppose in some circumstances, it makes some sense that. Actually, no, it does not make much sense at all. But then again, I am learning a lot of new things in regards to what has been going on. So, bomb.
There was also lots of them big wooden boxes full of this really bad black stuff. Yeah, I think some of it was in the little wand thing that Mr. Fairwind had, that I think the guards probably have told you about when.
Yes, gunpowder. Large
Yeah,
quantities of it.
Oh. That certainly would explain this, the explosion.
The magnitude of it, certainly, yes.
So, I mean, it is commonplace for ship traders to carry the black powder to protect their ships from primarily other ships. Sea creatures doesn't do too well against. They are far too nimble, too flexible for an accurate shot with the cannons. But it is odd that he was not exactly keeping it in a safer location, so I suppose if he had invested in some bomb tubes, then it's probably some kind of mechanism to destroy the place if anyone went snooping. So
that was our idea.
Bosses are right by the front door.
Okay, so I suppose that takes care of that. And I heard tells that you had uncovered some kind of note to say that as to Mr. Fairwind's culpability in these past crimes.
Didn't I give you that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so you did.
I As
I
Hikan's
understand.
like
I
patting
understand for
himself down.
the completeness of your report. Yes, that was in Gerudo. Apparently, this was one of the multiple languages that were used in some sort of messaging system. We do not know
Hey,
with
wait a
whom.
minute.
Hmm?
Do you speak? Do you do that Celestia language?
I do not speak Celestial, no.
Damn it. Never mind.
I'm sure there is someone in town who can speak Celestial. And if not, then well, it is not beyond our remit to see if we can put out a request for someone. We get a lot of people passing in and out of Sarcossa, so
And besides, we have Mara also.
She's
Mara, are
right,
you still working on it, or have you finished the translation?
I've still been working on it. It's a long report, though.
Understandable.
Hmm. But hopefully we'll I'll pass the completed thing along to the captain when we're due to leave, if I haven't finished it by then.
I think that sounds fair. Do you not think so, Captain?
Oh, of course, it sounds perfectly fair. It would go a long way. So I suppose the big question. I've been made aware through this process that there has been this Twilight Cartel. You mentioned it before when one of the previous times that we have been talking.
Yes.
Do you have any idea as to what that is?
We believe it is an organization. We are not entirely certain of its goals, but it seems to be, seems to have been active here and also in Hyrule Castle town, specifically with the attack on the royal family a few nights, like a week ago, a few nights ago now.
Yes. Well, I had primarily only heard something similar, or at least as much as I was aware before this situation had occurred. I had been informed so much as that the Twilight Cartel is something that is, well, it is a large unknown. It has a lot of influence in various places, and is primarily a trading cartel, as I suppose suggested by the name. But yes, I've, as far as I am aware, I have not encountered anyone, at least within my men, or within this town, or within my life, really, that is aware of the cartel, or at least the fine inner workings of it. I'm not even sure that Fairwind was the ringleader. As far as I am aware, he might just be a small part of it. But I suppose that is what this investigation is about. Do you have any indication as whether or not they are anywhere else?
We've encountered merchants, a wizrobe called Flamgo that seems to have dealings with it, either as part of it or as a compatriot. We have seen him last time south east of Hyrule Castle town.
But Bruno the Blockhead told us that he was going to Drumnick Town.
True.
Oh, Flamgo. Okay.
We also know Farron was talking to someone
Oh.
in that letter.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Um, busy
Y'all
day.
keep forgetting about that.
it has been a long day. But yes, no, I do remember. He was mentioning some kind of sending charm. I'm going to assume that probably it has been destroyed in the warehouse explosion, or is with his body at the bottom of the port.
Have you checked his room? Cause when Merlina and I were getting tea, she did mention that she overheard him talking to people a couple of times, and I know those two, and he kind of points over to Max and Ziden, did some magic stuff to talk to the big blue dogs.
Maybe. Yes, we had been spending a lot of time with the gaggle of prisoners that we now have in our cells. We haven't gotten around to raiding Fairwind's estate yet. But that is a good call. Yeah. Well, I suppose that is the case. I shall have to get back to it, I suppose. Is there anything else that you feel might be pertinent?
Honestly, it has been a long day, and there's not much that comes to mind just yet. Did you that the woman that was with Mr. Fairwind? I am assuming that she has been taken into custody.
She has been questioned, but it is obvious, at least from her testimony, that she has been unwillingly a part of this unfortunate situation. So while we are keeping her in a separate cell from the others, she is at the very least not... We still have to corroborate her story with the other things, but I'm assuming from your testimony that what she says may well be true?
We do get that impression, yes. And we have met a family member of hers that is desperate for a reunion.
Very well. I suppose after we've gotten everything sorted out, she'll be free to go by tomorrow. But in the meantime, a process needs to be followed if we want to make sure we have everything in order. So, with that, I shall get back to it, and I shall keep you informed for as long as you are in town. And I can assume with all of this over that you won't be getting into any more trouble, no?
Well, it's been a long day, but lots of chances tomorrow. I've heard there's been talk of a celebration.
Well, wouldn't surprise me. It has been an eventful couple of days, and a blight on our fair town has been eradicated, so I'd say that is cause for celebration, no?
Indeed. And celebrations are generally good places to stir up some trouble, wouldn't you say? And I give him the biggest shit-eating grin.
Just keeps the trouble manageable and we'll be on good terms.
That's fair enough. I'll keep that in mind.
And he puts away his pad and pencil. He gives a curt military bow, and then he heads out, leaving you guys once again alone in Zephyr's Favor building. As you carry on your evening, however that might be, it is again rather quiet. You expect a lot of people trying to come and find you or something just to talk to you. You are town heroes by this point, after all. But
we haven't mentioned to a lot of people that we are holed up in the Zephyr's Favor building.
That's true.
Nor have we really taken credit for anything. We've just kind of alluded to it.
True.
We've just kind of been there.
Yeah.
Like, every time that I've brought it up or mentioned it, it's like, oh, I heard about this, not, oh yeah, I got rid of the mists for you.
But yeah, as the evening winds on, eventually gets to the point where you all decide to head to bed, and that leaves us with Renji and his meditations on the nature of his pact.
Yeah, so I had noticed within my pact that the power given to me enhanced my vision, but in noticing that it felt like it only enhanced my my already like superhuman sight more than it or super Hylian sight.
Yeah.
Is it? So I've been trying for the last few days to like force myself to look at other ways to try and focus that power in a new direction.
Okay.
And I, in meditating on this, I materialized my sword and look at it, and the particles that come off it, the entire blade of it, I look at it and I see that it is suffused with this magical energy. And I look around and I now am able to cast Detect Magic as one of my Eldritch invocations.
A gift from me to you, Renji.
Oh, look who decided to show up.
You've been busy.
Well, that is the nature of my, job here. So you've gotten some things, haven't you?
Oh, yes. You have provided me with such interesting things, Renji.
Tell me, was Mr. Fairwind part of that?
Oh, Renji. Life is really that kind. But it is interesting to think that you would use my collection of souls and materials of the material plane as a form of spiteful revenge.
Ranger just silent for a moment, clearly admonished. And then, so, I suppose that Froggermoth wasn't big enough for you?
No.
tell me, you're able to see into the prime plane?
Yes.
What do you know of this strangely named Twilight Cartel?
Oh. Well, I suppose in my infinite charity I could tell you something. As you might have imagined, the Twilight Cartel has a poorly coincidental name. They are mere crooks and thieves, headed by a trio who themselves have no idea who the others are. Although I suppose this instance, it's more of a duo now.
And we've just, well, taken the Dawn out of the equation.
And now, to make sure it dies, I assume you realize that you must slay the dusk and the midnight.
That seems to be the case.
Good to see that you're catching on.
So, 3 heads of the cartel. 1 down, 2 to go. And Renji is playing with his Twilight weapon, which is now a smaller, more manageable dagger. Anything in particular you would like?
Spoiled for choice, I am. But I suppose if I had to put a price...
Because I'm not going to kill people willy-nilly.
No.
They have to earn that.
A heartless tool of a heartless monster has standards, I see. But as said, if I was to put a price on things, to point you in the right direction, to the terms I set out earlier, to your release, there are several things in this world that could appease me. One,
Such as?
there is a dragon that resides on Snowhead Mountain that goes by the name of Tundranex. It is powerful, but it is also young and arrogant. Its scales would be appealing. And in addition,
Scales. Mm-hmm.
while that froghemoth was not enough for me to provide you with the guide to parting our partnership, it did give me a taste of something. It felt that it didn't belong on the material plane along with you. See if you can find others that simply do not belong.
Not belong? What do you mean exactly?
Well, you'll know it when you see it. And the voice goes silent.
Range is starting to develop a bit of a headache every time that happens. Tundranax. Well, Randy dismisses his weapon. And he's going to lay down, take off his armor, and then try and catch some sleep.
Okay. And so you do. You all seem to have a somewhat restless night, or restful night, rather. Hikan,
Yes.
as you are sleeping, you begin to hear imperceptible whispers just at the edges of your hearing. As you stir awake, they get a little louder, and they feel like the chatter of young people, like children almost. And as you kind of like sit up in bed, you realize that you're not in the fairly fine looking room of that you have in the Zephyr's favor. You feel like you're back at the monastery. And the chatter of those children are just outside your door.
I take a look around to see if my stuff's still there. Mostly my cloak that I'm sure I got back from Max during the downtime, and my new shotgun stick.
The clothes you were wearing are with you. The shotgun
Okay.
stick is with you. But anything you might have left propped against a wall, like a bag or anything like that, that's gone.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put on my cloak of protection and grab the stick and walk out very trepidatiously, because last time I had a dream this lucid, Tyrina died.
Yeah. Um, so you kind of poke your head out the door, and you look down. You see the familiar corridors and like stonework and stuff of the monastery from home. There is a light pouring in from a nearby window, but the color of the light and everything around you tells you that everything is kind of in this sepia tone sort of thing.
Okay.
And as you are now out in the hallway, you can start making out what those kids are muttering about, and they seem to be making fun of you. Like, it's these really kind of childish but still all more hurtful jabs about, like, your intelligence or a mistake you might have made a couple of days ago. And it's always coupled with this kind of, like, childish giggling.
Icon being awake. Well, sit there and take a deep breath. And his instinct is to walk the other direction away from the voices, but
Okay.
sits there, instead starts walking very calmly towards the voices.
As you get closer, they do indeed get louder, and the context of the conversation moves from them talking about you as if you weren't there to them talking at you and being a bit more direct and targeted. And but as you get to the corner, you hear a clunk of a wooden stick on stone just clonk on the floor, and the voices are silenced. And walking around the corner is this older Hylian gentleman with this scraggly hair and scraggly beard, wearing brown robes that are kind of mismatched and rather dirty. He's wielding this kind of gnarled staff, and he like walks around the corner and stops in front of you, and he has both of his hands on his stick as if he's trying to like just keeping himself standing up, and he very slowly turns to look at you. Do you do anything?
Hi, you need some help?
Oh, sorry. This is still a new thing for me. It's difficult to try and do these sorts of things and not affect a person's subconscious or their memories or anything. You are Hikan Sio, am I correct?
Yeah. So I take it I don't recognize this man. Okay.
You do not recognize this man.
Yeah, that's me. Are you lost? It is kind of weird to be lost in a dream, I guess.
I suppose so. Tell me, regardless of anything. No, that would be it. No. And he kind of pauses, and like looks at the staff again and says, I wish to ask you a hypothetical, just to see if how you would react. Let us say that this stick, and he kind of hands outstretched and like taps it on the ground, says, let us say this stick has the power over people's minds. With a simple wave, I would be capable of turning the thoughts of others towards me and forever in my favor. Let's say you had the opportunity to take that from me. Would you use it for yourself, or would you destroy it?
Well, I think using it for yourself could mean all sorts of different things. Because, like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to sit there and make people have a good time and the rest of it. But at the same time, the only real type of place that's safe for some of us is in our heads. And even though sometimes the words that people use would hurt or would make them want to go do bad things, you don't have to respond to it. At least I don't think you do. Took me a bit to get that myself, but
Hmm. He kind of mulls that over.
If I had the opportunity to take it from you, I don't think I would. That's if I knew that beforehand. I mean, it is a pretty nice walking stick.
Interesting answer. There is a wisdom that lies beneath everything within you, and a good heart to go with it, I feel. I think you will do.
Hmm?
And at that point, as he says that, he taps the stick on the ground one more time, and you wake up, not suddenly, but you have your eyes open up, and you are back within your room, and everything is in color again.
Khan, a bit confused, does get out of bed and looks to see if anyone else is awake.
See. So you all have like the 4-hour rings, right? Or you either can trance or you have a ring that lets you have 4 hours of sleep. So if everybody went to, did anybody not go to bed when everybody else went to bed?
Depending on my thing, I may have gone to bed a little later.
This place has a back garden, right?
Yeah.
Mess is probably out there, deciding to stay up for tonight.
Okay.
Sitting under a tree reading some more.
Mara would probably be in her room. She's awake. She's probably reading.
Seems fair.
Ziden?
Probably in his room.
Okay. So, yeah.
If it seems as though no one else is up, mostly because Max is outside, and I don't know if I'd be able to see that from where the rooms are, I'd probably go to Ziden's room.
Okay.
And I would calmly...
Ziden will get up and open the door. He'll gesture inside.
Hikan will come inside and sit cross-legged on the floor, as one does.
He'll shut the door. Ask, "Do you need something to drink?"
Oh no, I'm okay. Do you remember that dream that we had with the wise person that was a wizrobe, where like we saw things from the past?
Yes, I still have my notes on that.
Okay. I had a dream like that, which is weird because we normally don't dream. But or like when I do, it's normally about like swimming or doing like really cool flips or flying through the sky. You know, basic things. There was a person in this dream, and it took place where at the monastery, and it was an old dude in a brown robe with a really cool stick, and he asked me a question, and I answered his question. It was a tough question, a weird question, but I answered his question. If he had if he had a stick that messed with his with thoughts, like make them be flavorful, would I use it? And I kind of said I said no, because it's his stick and I don't want to make things in people's thoughts different with magic, because magic's cool, but no. And then he said, something about having wisdom and a good heart, which sounds really weird, but whatever. And then he said, "You'll do," and then I woke up.
Hmm. Okay then. I would gather
Uh,
from the fact that we don't normally have dreams that this was probably some magical influence upon you.
uh, have Have you had any type of magic things like that happen to you?
Not since the time in the Firevine Forest.
What about before that?
Hmm. Not anything worth remarking on.
Okay.
I
Um,
would. Hmm. How good is your hand at drawing?
um, I haven't practiced drawing. My writing kind of stinks, but I can give it a go.
Try and draw the face of this man. Fear that
Okay.
we will encounter them soon.
So I pull out the paper that I started writing the Gerudo on back in Fairwind's thing, and then I flip it over and I put it on the floor and I start attempting to draw this man's face.
Okay.
Ziden will eat a good berry and watch.
Okay. Ooh. Should I? No, I'll allow you to, if you're taking your time with it and you're not in a hurry, I'll allow you to take 10 on whatever it might have been in order to draw it. And you draw something close to the approximation. You draw the face of a man. Seems to have kind of like fairly squarish features, but it's mostly covered by the long scraggly hair and the big beard, and um, seems to, from the artist's interpretation, seems to have something of a kind of like tired look about him.
Hmm. That is quite a good drawing.
I had to go a bit slow, but it worked out.
Hmm. Let's see. So, something which can alter people's minds. The strange old man saying, "You will do."
Yeah, um, I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it, it sounds kind of like a weird test because like there was voices and they were making fun of me and um I I wanted to turn away, but I ended up walking towards it and I ran into the man right before I got to the area where the voices would be. And yeah, I hope I passed. I'm not good with tests.
I'm sure you did wonderfully.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, we should see if
Thank you.
everyone else is up. Get ready for the day.
I think I'm gonna take a few moments, real quick, and but thank you for listening. You can keep the drawing if you want. And,
I shall. He'll
and
carefully fold it up and put it in his bag.
I will head downstairs into the foyer and practice my kata more like Tai Chi as I'm trying to get over the fact that I had a weird ass dream.
Yeah. But yeah. Uh. Yeah. The rest of the rest of the morning, I suppose, goes largely without incident because you guys only sleep for so long. Uh, it's still fairly dark outside from how little sleep you've had, and chances are not a lot of places will be open by this point. So it's one of those things where you have to sit and wait for something to allow you to do a thing. Yeah. Otherwise, eventually, everyone does get up and get ready for the day. Thankfully, the place has a washroom of some description, so if you need to use it, you can do.
Or you can ask Renji for prestidigitation.
That's true.
I think half of us can do that ourselves.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know if Druidcraft can. I think Druidcraft could just add more mud to you.
Yes. It adds mud.
You could make yourself smell nice, I guess.
Hikan sniffs his shirt. He did take a bath yesterday, technically.
He did take a bath yesterday, but is that his only shirt?
Yes.
I
No,
can't say anything. Max used to literally wear rags.
That's true.
Actually,
Permission to
technically-
roll stealth to
Technically, it's
stealth
not,
prestidigitate.
because he has his fine clothes, but...
Yeah. I'd say, like, if you wish to roll stealth prestidigitation, you may attempt to do so versus Hikan's likely incredibly high perception.
+8 stealth.
Ooh.
23.
Not bad.
Bad. Okay.
It was a 19 perception.
Hikan now smells like lilac and gooseberries.
I feel like he'd notice that.
After a while, yes.
He doesn't notice the casting. He just notices the smell as it
The
apparates.
smell is what I add at the end after
Yeah.
removing dust and debris.
Okay. So yeah, you smell a bit nicer and you look a bit cleaner. Everyone's looking fairly fine as the sun has risen, and it is a brand new day, and just in the morning there is a knock on the door.
Come in.
And there is a guard who kind of posts his hand and says, Mayor Turnier requests you to be in the town square as soon as you possibly can. She's doing that forum thing like now.
I think we can acquiesce to her request. We
Excellent.
were just
That
getting
means
ready.
yes, right?
That means yes.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Yeah, he kind of nods, says, "I'll run ahead and let them know."
Thank you.
Closes the door behind him, and you hear the clatter of metal as he jogs on. And Mara just kind of hugs her book to her chest and says, "Public forum thing?"
If you don't want to be in the spotlight, I don't see why you would have to. But
I can be in the crowd at least.
What's a spotlight?
harsh lighting for theater productions.
Doesn't sound fun.
I think Mayor Turnier wants to thank us in front of the city.
This kind of tension that runs through Max's entire body at that.
Mm-hmm. You okay?
A lot of people in this town.
That's true.
Not good with lots of people.
I can turn you invisible if you'd like.
And how long does that last?
An hour.
Silent enough. being there.
All right.
I'll stay with Mara in the crowd,
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. Guess we should get going?
I guess so then. Yes.
Okay. So you depart from the Zephyr's Favor and you head down towards the town square. And as you round a corner and turn onto Main Street, you see a sea of people with like these with a little stage further like on the other side of them, and you can see just propped up above the crowd is Mayor Turney, who's kind of just like pacing back and forth, and flanking either side of this stage are guards. None of them seems to have immediately noticed you just yet, but it is
Max panics and is back around the corner.
Or says, did you three want to go on ahead and then we'll sneak into the crowd when their attention's on you? Maybe?
If you want us to, then sure.
Okay. Stay around here for a bit.
Okay. And we are going to go ahead and move through the crowd.
Okay. So as you get in through the crowd, you can hear off in some corner there is someone playing some rather pleasant celebratory music. As you go about this, there is a like as you move forward, one or two people in the crowd recognize you, and at which point they start saying, "It's them!" And this kind of like goes out in a wave among the people as they turn and see you. And Meternia like notices this, looks down, and says, "Ah, excellent. Please," and taps the stage with a cane a couple times. Says, "If you could."
I nod and like how is the crowd? What are they doing now
They're not.
that they know they are here?
They're not Beatles rioting, as it were.
Okay, good.
They're not trying to grab at you to get a hug or whatever it is. They're just kind of talking amongst themselves and applauding and cheering as they kind of part to allow you through to the stage. But as you kind of get on stage, Meternia kind of turns and shakes hands with the three of you and says, "You seem to be missing two people."
They are not fond of being in the center of attention.
Ah, yes, I can understand in some capacity. Well, I hope they are aware that everyone here is very thankful for what you have done. But without further ado, and she holds up her hand to like somewhere off in the crowd, and the music begins to die down a bit until it eventually stops, and she says, "People of Sarcossa, as you can imagine, there has been some very good news. The fogs are gone, the monsters are gone, and we have gotten rid of a terrible criminal that has been playing us for fools and risking our lives for their own gain. And it is thanks to the valiant effort of these fine young heroes who have come and joined us today. And I think it would be very, very much appreciated if you can show them how much you appreciate their help." At which point, the crowd erupts into these cheers and claps and stuff. It's like this roar of applause and appreciation as the whole town seemingly has its attention on the three of you. Do you?
I lean over to Ziden, and I say, "They
did
think
she just
you're
call-
really young."
Yeah, I was about to ask that. Ziden shrugs.
That's it. As the crowd dies down, it says, "As is customary, we will bequeath upon these heroes tokens of our appreciation." And one of the guards comes up, or two of the guards come up actually. One of them has what appears to be a small wooden chest on hand, and another one appears to come up with a separate wooden box. And Matoni says, "It had been in days gone by that those who had performed valiant works within Sarcossa, were they to have gone out and slain a beast that had been disrupting trade routes, or found a solution to a fishing problem, or perhaps had done just as these men have, and women, mind, have rooted out corruption within our fair city, we will bequeath upon them a gift that is appropriate for this here settlement. And so it is that I bequeath upon you." And she offers out a hand, at which point the guy with the small wooden chest opens up and you see a pile of gold coins. And the other
Always
guy,
nice.
the other guy just lifts the box up, or lifts his box up and says, "Bequeath upon you the summary total of 3,000 gold pieces and the mark and tool of the trade. I believe colloquially it is known as a folding boat."
But, okay, that's cool.
And they kind of offer offer these things to you to take.
Ziden will look at Renji, then move to put the money into his bag of holding.
Okay.
Holding boat fit in a bag of holding?
It's able
Depends
to be
on how
carried
big-
by. It's able to be carried by one man.
Yeah, but if it's larger than 2 feet, then in one diameter, in one dimension, then it's going to be tricky to put in bag of holding.
I'll have a look. Okay.
So the original item is 12 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 6 inches deep.
Be fine.
A foot by half a foot and half a foot.
So Ziden will suggest to Renji that he takes that so that they don't carry both of the valuable things
Mhm.
together.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
And I accept part of it with a graceful bow, and then like I feel Renji wants to both showboat a little, and then and also kind of like get the crowd in a bit of a like positive vibe.
Okay.
Like to help, like let them start cheering and that sort of thing.
So how do you accomplish that?
I had a good idea.
Okay.
So Ziden will pass the immovable rod to Hikan and suggest he does some acrobatics in the air with it.
Hikan looks at it for a little bit and just gets like this really small grin, and then lifts it up as high as he can, and presses the button.
Yep.
And then just kind of swings up and does like a one-handed handstand on it.
Ooh. There's like a round of applause. Do any of you of the others on stage do any more of the showboating stuff?
when it comes to actual acrobatics.
Sorry.
Hold on. Oh, I'm not sure if this is possible. How far above ground is Hikan at this moment?
Okay, so let's put it this way. How tall is Hikan?
Yeah, I actually have that written down somewhere. He's close to 8 feet in the air at the moment.
Okay. Then Renji, on his go, basically, is going to try and Misty Step on top of Hikan's feet.
Okay, I want both of you to roll acrobatics, please.
Oh dear, I am sorry,
Okay.
but this is just too good to pass up. I only have a +2.
That's a 19.
19.
A
22.
natural 20 for 22.
Yay.
Very cool. So you misty step, like without verbal communication whatsoever. You land on top of Hikan as he balances, and you remain balanced there, and the people go nuts.
And with prestidigitation, I amplify my voice and say, "Rejoice, people of Sarcossa, for your enemy is no more!"
Hikan, even though he's stronger than the average person, just like slowly and carefully moves his other hand back down to the immovable rod.
Good idea. And with my other, spell slot, I then disappear in this small shower of particles, and then reappear on the stage.
Okay.
Max has never been more glad to have made a decision in his life.
Yes.
This includes escaping from horrible prison.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Mayor Tony goes, ladies and gentlemen, I give you your heroes, and she turns to you and says, I'm sorry, it's awfully difficult to go through all of your names all at once. Do you have, like, a group name?
No, not yet.
Group names are hard.
Make one. Do it now.
But it's hard!
We are here on behalf of Nihilus Vox, but I don't want specifically my family name to dominate the group name.
It'd probably be
Is that
better
always-
if we tried to make a name somewhat familiar to our dearly departed lord.
Yeah.
What was his family name again?
Simeon.
That's his last name?
Yep.
Oh. I've always been considering that to be his first name.
All the lords are Lord
yeah,
last name or Lady
that's
last
fair.
name.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's first name when it's Sir.
Yeah, that's it.
His first name was Archibald, by the way. You probably would have known about that during the time.
Yeah.
Archibald's
if
kind of
anyone
hard
would
to
know.
turn into a team name.
He was Minister of Education.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, shoot. Because when I kept trying to think of things to like suggest for team names, the only thing that kept coming to my head was like the King's Shadow, because technically we were most of us are Sheikah, and we're on this quest because the king was killed.
I mean, in our notes, our group is called the Sheikah Boys.
But yeah, we have Max.
Yes.
And Mara.
And Mara.
And who is Hylian.
And
They're both Hylians.
And you can't Gilligan's Island this.
No. Simeon's Avengers.
A bit too obvious.
Yeah.
That is sample.
Shadow
Hyrule Chronicles.
How about the Simillions?
Hyrule Chroniclers, because
Yes.
he was the Minister of Education, so we're chronicling. I don't know.
But we're not actually doing much of that, though.
Hey,
No.
Ziden is.
If you'd like to abstain until you guys think of something later, then that's fine.
Shoot.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
insert group name here. Yay!
The shits. No, I'm kidding.
You're
The super
not
high
the super-
intensity team has already been taken.
Yeah, it's his
Yeah.
taken name. Oh man. Mayor Tony is just very well. And she kind of dwells on it a bit and says, well, they don't have a group name, but they are what they are, and that is your heroes. At which point there is a like a pause sort of thing.
All right.
Like that bit in Aquaman just after the big clash. It's like, yeah, sort of thing. And the music starts up again. And people are generally just like continuing to clap as Martini turns to you and says, I'm sorry it wasn't as the most dignified of send-offs, but well,
It's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
we
we
really thought about it. We've been asked like 4 times at least.
so
It's hard.
there is one other bit of business that I wanted to talk to you about a little less in front of the crowd. But it occurs to me that after we have sent this message to Mr. Rayburn in regards to restarting the Zephyr's favor back in town, it occurs to me that we do still have a building empty by the end of all of this. It would be easier after we've had the authorities go through Fairwind's building to just let Rayburn have the still furnished building, but, well, we have a building empty.
Mhm.
Did you want to keep it?
Do we have
Well.
to pay taxes on it?
It depends on what you do with it. If you want to leave it empty, then I suppose the rest of the city might find some kind of use for it, but if you want to actually use it for a business, that is when the actual funding would have to be discussed. Because even if you don't have to pay taxes necessarily, you still have to pay people that you employ.
Large place with a warehouse.
Oh, the warehouse is burned to the ground, I'm afraid. So it's it'll just
Oh,
be
right.
the guild house that will be available to you.
That's fair.
So wait,
And
what's the actual empty place?
So the empty place is the place that you've currently been staying in, which is the Zephyr's favor. Other than the desk at the front and maybe whatever beds you've cobbled together, it is completely unfurnished. Because the Zephyr's favor basically had been in the process of packing up shop when you arrived, and Mayor Tony was like, well, to get as like recompense to the Zephyr's favor for basically being run out of town by a massive criminal, we're just gonna give the already still furnished Fairwind building to the Zephyr's favor so that they can get back to doing their business, because it's a business. But the empty building we'll just give to you if you want to keep it. If you don't want to, then she says it's fine. It's a building that's going spare, and there hasn't been anyone wanting to set up a trading business as of late.
I wouldn't mind discussing this with my my fellow partners here, but I think it's a little bit too early to outright accept or dismiss
Well,
this.
while you're in town, feel free to mull it over. You know where I am, so you can always come and find me if you decide that you want to take it up. But for now, I suppose people are going to be celebrating with drink and games and whatnot, so I shall allow you to indulge for as long as you are here. Have a good time.
Okay.
Thank you.
We should open a bar.
We should what?
Open a bar. It's like right next to the
Oh.
port, and it's better than the than we can make it better than the other place because he was really grumpy, and we could like turn some of the rooms into places for people to stay.
That is a good point. If we do want to keep it an open something, we should make sure it's something that isn't already heavily dominated.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's too bad of an idea.
And if they have other Gorons that come to town, we'll make them like have a really nice place to stay. That way they don't gotta deal with the jerks from Brassbell.
Hmm. Well, Brassbell is just next door, though.
Yeah, but we don't have to let them in.
I think it's a little bit early to start discriminatory practices just yet. But I do agree making sure that everyone is welcome.
Okay.
That is... Ziden, you're more experienced in the world. How bad of an idea is this?
Ziden decides to mull it over for a while, still not having really revealed that, despite being old, he isn't very experienced in the world. Says, it could be worse.
And maybe I can take the time to make good berry wine.
Will that keep?
I don't know, but I'll find a way.
I would
Fair enough.
assume that freshly made it would be incredible, and afterwards it would be like normal wine.
We'll figure something out. It's something to think about.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, either still hiding behind the crowd or having tentatively joined it while the speech was going on.
That's probably was somewhere at the back of it.
Yeah.
And it's now pressed against the wall as everyone separates to do things.
Yeah. Mara just kind of stands idly and says, like, I think the crowd is dispersing. Do we want to go and join the others, maybe?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. She wanders wanders potentially through the crowd until eventually she reaches the stage. She doesn't go on stage, but just kind of, I guess, like offers a wave.
Oh, hello, Mara and Max.
Hi.
They want to give us the building.
What?
Yeah, one we've been staying in. We don't know if we want it yet or what to do with it. I suggested a bar.
Some sort of establishment run by us to have a bit of a staging area.
Maybe. I mean, we do have a lot of places to. Well, I say we have a lot of places to go. We might have to go other places all over the kingdom. So we probably have to hire somebody to look after it while we're gone.
That's definitely one thing.
If Hikan was a little more on the neutral scale and a little bit more intelligent, he'd go franchising.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really up to you guys.
Gatherings
Yeah.
Limited. The counterweight to Acquisitions Incorporated.
Oh dear.
You helped,
But-
Mara.
Well, yeah, but either way, I suppose I should also ask, do we have an idea as to what we're doing next?
Drumnick, maybe?
Okay.
That's where Flamgo went.
Hmm.
Flamgo.
Okay.
Unless someone else had a different idea, because if someone else has a different idea, we could go back and give a report. We don't know whatever that means, but we don't know where Nihilus is. Excuse me. But for right now, I think it's time for us to relax and have a little bit of fun, because we've been working really hard for the past days.
An amount of time.
And an inordinate amount of time. There's, okay, well, lead the way, I guess. I'm not really good at the celebrating stuff.
Well, generally, we should get a drink.
No. We need to see if they have pies, because Mara isn't normally big on that, and that's the first thing we did with with Max.
Pies?
Yeah, Sebastian had like pastries or pies or things, and because Max hadn't had any fair food, we got him some, and yeah, apparently it was really good.
Oh.
Wait, you're getting fair food now?
It's celebration.
So I
Pastry-
just look for things on sticks.
Everyone likes things on like they're easy to make and they're delicious. Come on, let's follow Ziden. He knows where food is, and I think he has all the money.
Okay.
Yes, it does have all the money actually now.
Yeah.
So he
We
does.
should probably remind him at some point to share that out.
Yeah, do we want to share that out, or do we want to keep that with one person?
Actually, if we find a quiet spot now and then
We
share
could
it
go
out.
back to our new house.
That is definitely a possibility.
Just briefly to like
Let's-
sort shit out and
Let's be real. If Hikan gets any of this, it's going to the rest of the party in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
well, it's up to him to decide how to spend it.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Because, like, 600's barely a dent in what he wants.
Oh dear. But yeah, and so it is that you return temporarily to your new building, if you wanted it, to split the money and discuss what you want to do for the rest of your things, which we'll cover briefly in the next session. And I think what we'll do now is we'll call it a night there, because otherwise if we go straight into full-on celebration stuff, it'll overrun by quite a distance. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us. My name is ArticulateT. I'm the Game Master. This has been episode 45 of Hyrule Chronicles, and with me, as always, I have Renji Vox, being played by TheNetherlad.
It's been a pleasure.
I have Hikan Sio, being played by Alvarance.
In retrospect, now all three of the youths have had weird dreams.
And playing Ziden Shari, I have RoboPirate.
We're gonna forget about passing out this money, and I'm just gonna go, why do I have so much money?
And finally playing Max, I have Keistrith.
Hi.
And we will see you next time, hopefully, where the group have decided not only whether or not they're keeping this building, but also a group name. Bye!
Bye!
Bye!